All right, this one's for, I guess, the Gen Xers out there. I'll be 50 next month, so this is within my age group. Anybody who grew up in my time probably has kind of some memories of certain music from their, early years. And I would say the late 80s and all the way through the 90s was a pretty, let's just say, for me, I was born in 75. So around 85 is when I really started, or maybe 88 is when I really got into music and got my first cassette tapes. Moved on from then, and I was kind of a metalhead. So I listened to a lot of metal, but also rap. I mean, everything. Point being, my son, he turned 16 last month, actually 2 months ago, and he wanted to go to his first concert with just him and his friend. And it's funny because my son's not really a Hesher like I was, but his friend is. When I first met the kid, he was like maybe like 13 or something. A little short hair, nice little kid. And now he's like this long haired, like 6 foot tall dude. Just, hey. It's just funny to watch the kids grow. But my son really wanted to go to this show. So the other kid's mom was going to take them. And so I said, yeah, that sounds awesome, he the show he wanted to see was Jane Remover. I'm not familiar with Jane Remover. I don't know if it's just a girl or if she has like a whole band or whatnot, but that's the show he went for. But when I dropped him off, his friend was talking about this. His mom was talking to me, and she was like, "Oh, who are you going to see?" And he's like, "Turnstile." And I was like, I don't remember him saying that. I didn't realize had like I think 4 different artists. It was up at the Edgefield McMenamins. So anyway, I was curious. I wanted to look it up and say, okay, who's Turnstile? What kind of music are they listening to? Oh, dude, I fell in love. Like, that music hit so hard for me right away. And I know that as a musician myself and a music lover, I know that anything that hits right away tends to lose its luster pretty quick, in my experience, for me. But anything that takes a while to really start liking, those are the ones that endure. But this is different. Their music is reminiscent of, like, if you're curious, I'll maybe put a link. The Turnstile, the song is called Blackout. And I was like, God, what does this remind me of? It's like, they have like a little drum break where they're using cowbell. I mean, it's interesting, it's curious, and it takes me back to a time when people had good music where they cared about it. And I think the reason I looked it up is because at some point during the show, my son sent me a text, and he said, "Oh my God, I caught the water bottle," and I knew what he meant. He was talking about, I guess, Jane Remover threw a water bottle, the only thing they threw in the audience, and he caught it. I was like, yeah, protect that. I know how it is. You get something. Because one time, Fat Mike from NoFX, he flicked out a bass pick, and we were like maybe, I don't know, 10 feet back from the stage, and the pick landed somewhere around us, and everybody just started looking all over the floor for this guitar pick, this bass pick. It's nowhere to be found. After a minute, people started just giving up, and then I looked down, and it was literally stuck in my belt line. I had a belt and jeans on and no shirt on. Because I was all sweaty, moshing, and it stuck on my sweat, on my belly. I was like, yes, and I still have that pick. So anyway, concerts are fun. And but then he said, I'm going back down to the pit. He texted me, and I was like, pit? Like, okay, this is interesting. I want to see what these guys are all about. And yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like, Prong, a little bit of Helmet, a little bit of Rage Against the Machine, even with a little Pink Floyd-esque kind of synth in there. I can't explain it. It's just good rock, crunchy guitar, and the singer's really good. So anyway, I liked it. If you were a metalhead or a thrash metalhead, you might like it. One of the songs reminded me of DRI, and I used to love those guys. So anyway, the music was great. And when I started reading the comments, so funny because the comments in there, I don't know how many are true because comments are funny like that, but a couple of them were like, dude, I'm like, the first one I read said, man, I'm 50 years old and I have not heard anything that really resonated with me in a long time. This hit. And then further down, there's somebody else like, yeah, my son was listening to this and I'm like 53. And I realized that there's all these people in my age group that are like, what? And so I wanted to figure it out. And I started digging through, like, what does this sound like? And yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's really good stuff. So I guess I just wanted to share that with any of my Gen X friends to check out Turnstile, because you might actually like them. And not only that, but I guess they're very, activist style. They have meaning behind their lyrics, and they actually care about their fans. And most importantly, as somebody said, they're introducing Gen Z to the mosh pit and crowd surfing, which is a beautiful thing. And I feel like it's a glimmer of hope that good things are coming back. But anyway, just some thoughts on music. And I remember going to my first show because my dad dropped me off. It was at the Salem Armory in Salem, Oregon. And the armory was like this, had seats all the way around, and then this like big floor with the pit and the floor. It looked more like a slaughtering arena. It was brutal, all concrete, and that was my first mosh pit. I went to Iron Maiden and Anthrax, and Anthrax played Caught in a Mosh, and that was my introduction to moshing. So had a good time, and I'm glad he had a good time. And if you're out there and you've never been, you need to go have a good time. So keep it real. See you next time.